Okay, welcome everyone, and welcome to today's ABA. I'm Marco Trinidad. I'm going to be talking to you about title block creation and just everything that goes into creating your own title block, all the resources, and how you can move that into your old drawings. So what we're going to be going over is just the importance of title blocks and how they're important to your drawings and to your company as well, and how you can go ahead and create them. I am going to go through a demo creating a custom title block and also other drawing resources and little tricks that you can go ahead and use for your own title blocks and how you can customize them for your company's needs. A little bit about myself. I am an application engineer here at KETIV. I am on the support team, so if you send a support request, I might be one of the application engineers to help you out. I did graduate from San Jose State University with my bachelor's in mechanical engineering. And a little bit about myself outside of KETIV, I'm pretty into photography. If you have watched one of my other AVAs, you know that I like creating parts inside of Inventor off of some of my photography tools. Okay, so we do have a little poll right now. Just a few questions about drawings and title blocks. Is your company utilizing custom title blocks? Have you or your company updated your title block in the last year? And if you are using custom iProperties within your title block. So is your company utilizing your custom title blocks? It looks like a lot of you are. There are a few of you that are not. So that's a good thing. You or your company updated in the last year. It looks like a pretty decent split. A lot more of you have not updated them within the last year. And then are you using custom iProperties? Yes, looks like a good amount of you are. And that's something I want to cover today because it's something that's come up quite a bit, at least in some of the support cases that I have been on lately. Okay. Close that out. So what is the importance? It's part documentation. So it's very important not only to create your parts and annotate them correctly, but moving them forward within like the manufacturing process. It's very important to have clear information for your manufacturers or your customers, or just between other engineering departments. And so custom title blocks allow you to kind of narrow down that information and be a lot more specific on what information you want on there, what needs to be transferred between departments, and just allowing you to be a lot more concise and clear and a lot more standardized. When you have a nice template, you can go ahead and share that between your engineers so that they all share the same information and transfer the same information. So there are three key factors or key elements to a good template. It's going to be your sheet formats that allows you to quickly place your views or quickly place your parts and allow you to place your borders, title blocks, and some of your views on there as well quickly. It gives you a nice base to work off of. Your borders, they're really good for margins. They go around your drawing template. And then the title block, which is probably the most important part, it grabs information from your parts and then moves them into your drawing. And if you have it set up correct or properly, you can go ahead and automate a lot of that so that you don't have to fill it in yourself. Okay, now moving on to our demo here. I'm going to go ahead and pull up drawing transfer wizard, sorry. The drawing transfer wizard is good to move your custom resources between drawings. So it's a tool that's been around for a while and you have it installed with Inventor. You can grab your new title block resources and then move them over to your older drawings. And it does that for you, so you don't have to go into each drawing and kind of move those manually. And now moving on to the demonstration. I'm going to go ahead and stop my webcam now so it doesn't get in the way here. And then move on. So I'm going to start with a new drawing here. Just working off of a standard one. So when you open up your template, this is for within your template, you already have the default title block and border. I will go ahead and get rid of these for now, just for the sake of going through the demonstration. So right under your drawing resources, you have 3 separate folders: sheet formats, borders, and title blocks. I'm going to go ahead and start with the border. So right here, you can see there's a default border. If I double click that, it goes ahead and adds in a border to my sheet. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. One of the options here is define a zone border. That one on the screen. So this allows you to essentially create the default border with a custom number of zones. And also it gives you a few more options here. If you want to go ahead and change the text style for any of the different text on the zone. And also if you want to change how it's defined. You are also able to change your sheet margins here. So if you need a smaller sheet margin on one of your sheets, you can go ahead and adjust that here. Maybe you're adding hole punches on one of the sides of the sheet. So you want a little bit more on the sides than you do on the top and bottom. You can go ahead and change that here. And once you go ahead and add that in, it is all set. So and a new zone to show you, and you can see it's parametric here. I'll go ahead and pull that up one more time under edit. It is parametric, so it is going to adjust if you change the sheet size. And that's one of the great things about doing parametric, is that even though I defined it using this specific sheet, if I were to go in here and change out the sheet size to maybe a smaller sheet, it'll go ahead and adjust the border to fit it. So I'll go ahead and delete this one for now. And the other option would be to define a new border. And this one, I will go ahead and just create a simple one here. So simple single line. And like I said, it is parametric, so I can define it using dimensions. Go ahead and dimension this as a 1/2 inch on each side. I'm gonna go ahead and also just match these all. So if I were to change this single dimension on the top, it'll adjust the rest if I ever need to in the future. There we go. So if I ever need to adjust these in the future, so let's say I want a smaller one, I can just adjust this single one and it'll adjust the rest of the edges. I could also define this in 2, which is probably might be the way to go, where you adjust the top and bottom to be driven by a single one, and then the left and right to be driven by a different dimension. So I'll go ahead and just leave this one as KETIV border. And then when I double click on it here on the left, it'll go ahead and add it into my sheet here. Moving on to our title blocks. As you can see, there's a couple of default ones here. If you click on them, it'll bring in these, the default title block, which is a pretty good title block here. If I go ahead and open up and edit this one, you could see that it is parametric. So it is driven by a lot of dimensions here. It has a lot of properties in here that don't show up because there is no part in here currently. But for now, I will go ahead and delete this one, because we will be defining our own custom title block. So if you go on right click the title block, you can go ahead and define new title block. Also create a simple one for this demonstration. I do have one already completed that I will show you some of the, for when we move it onto our old drawings. I'm going to add some lines here and a few different zones. Okay, so I have my skeleton, I guess, for this title block. One of the things we get asked the most is adding logos into title blocks. There are two options. One would be to create it parametrically, which I know is very difficult. A lot of logos, more than likely you aren't going to want to do that because they are more complex than you would want to create in the sketch toolbar. So you can add an image here on the top right, and you have to click your insertion point here, and then it'll pull up a window to open up a drawing. Right here, I have a PNG of the KETIV logo that I'm going to be adding. And I will click. And you can see it inserted it here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do that one more time because there is one option here that I want to make sure I cover. And that is right here at the bottom, there is a link option. You want to make sure to not have that checked, because if you do have it linked, that means you're going to have this PNG file in the correct location in order for it to pull up this title block without any errors. So you want to make sure to not have that checked. We don't want that linked. That way we don't have to keep another file. We don't have to track another file every time we use this title block. Go ahead and mention this. So we'll go ahead and just add that in here. Next up is text. So if we create a little text box here, we can add, we have our format text window here. And let's just say we want the date. You do have your options for different text sizes here, or text color if you want to change the color. And we'll go ahead and just keep date for this one. Now you can see that it comes up with these dots here. If you want to dimension this, you can actually click on right click and click text box. And you can actually dimension off of that text box. So if you want to standardize your margins on the text, you can go ahead and just do that here. And that way all your margins match. Okay. and then adding in so if we want to grab our property from our part or our drawing, under type, we have this drop-down window that gives you different areas where it can search for properties. We have standard, drawing, sheet, prompted entry, typing style, physical, and sheet metal. We click on standard properties. It'll grab it from our source, which is the part, and it gives you different properties you can grab from your part. So for this one, I'm going to go with creation date. You click on add in order to move this into here. Click OK, and then it pulls it up into your sketch window. So go ahead and move that here. Now, when I drop a part into this drawing, it will go ahead and fill this in just from that part. And I can go ahead and add more here. There is one option that I did want to make sure to cover, and that is custom eye properties, which you did not. If we go back into text here, it's not an option that comes up just with your drawing open. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how you can add that in. For now, we're going to cancel out of here. We're going to say this is our completed title block. I'm going to call this KETIV standard and save that. And there you can see our property. Now I'm going to delete this one and show you how you can add a custom eye property. So right here, I have this part. If I pull up my parameters here, I have yield strength. And if you go all the way to the right, you have this export parameter option. And I have that checked. What that check mark does is if you go into the eye properties, it'll come in here as a custom eye property. For you to move that into your drawing, you actually need to place your part into here for that to show up. So now that I have this just base view of my part, I can go back into the title block, edit it, and when I add a new text field, it comes up with custom eye properties. And that is where I can get my yield strength. Add that in there, and it shows up here. Let me save that really quick. Actually, let me quickly add in some text here. And I can dimension this as well. I'm not going to, just for the sake of me already having a completed one on the bottom, but I will go ahead and now just add this in, and you can see my yield strength is in here from that custom eye property. If I were to change that, I change my yield strength. I'll put this from this part. So we want titanium. Put that into my drawing, and it updates it. Now I do have it as a bit of iLogic in order to get that to happen, but I just wanted to show you that it updates my custom eye property with the change in part. Okay. Now sketch symbols, they're essentially sketches that you wouldn't want to keep recreating. So let's say maybe you have certain symbols that you're adding in, or maybe there's a paragraph that you add in on some parts and not others, or there's a standard do not copy. You can go ahead and create a new sketch symbol. Yeah, I just want a text that says do not copy. Find that here. And make it a little larger than Now, if I click on this do not copy, I can just go ahead and add it in there. That way, let's say you have other more complex symbols, or maybe just the same as this example, or a paragraph you'd like to add in here on some of your drawings. That'll save you some time by not having to do that, recreate them each time you need to use them. Now, last one is sheet formats. What this does is it takes it has a few default ones here, and I'll go ahead and click through those. I'm just going to add a couple of projected views onto this specific drawing. Just editing my views, changing the scale so they fit this sheet a little bit better. And now that I have my border, my title block, and my views, I can right click on my sheet and create a sheet format. Now, if I were to delete all of these, I can go back to my sheet format, double click it. I do already have my part here. If not, you can go ahead and search it with this little search icon, and it'll pull all of that information back. Now I will go ahead and show you this more completed title block. For this title block, I actually defined my logo. I actually drew it in here. And the reason for that one was because I wanted to dimension it. One of the downsides of using the image is you actually can't dimension the image. So you can see this one has a lot more information on it. This just goes to show different aspects you can add in here. I'll go ahead and add my base view once again. And you can see you can pull up the part number, the description. I don't have an engineer assigned to this one. Sheets, 1 of 1, because I only have one sheet here. If I were to find a new sheet and go back, you can see that it updates to the total number of sheets. And one last area I wanted to cover was prompted entry. Go back here to my title block. Now, when you add a text, there is an option for prompted entry. And prompted entry, it gives you a little window that helps you define your field when you create the title block. So you can see right here, I'm just going to write not to scale. And that field will pop up whenever someone creates a new sheet with this title block. And you can, if you right click here, if you go down into your title block, see field text and edit the field text, you can go ahead and adjust that. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this part from this template. I'm going to save this and show you the drawing resource transfer wizard. I do need to close out Inventor in order to use it. So I'm not going to save this title block because I do have this standard one that I have already created. And I will close out my parts as well. Okay. So here it's called Drawing Resource Transfer Wizard. It is installed with Inventor. So first it's going to prompt me for my drawing that I want to use to grab the resources from. Look through some of these questions. So right here, it gives me a few different options. I don't have sketch symbols. I do only want to transfer the borders and the title block. If you did have more, you can transfer those as well. And then I have this not updated old drawing here that I can just open. And then drawing transfer wizard. Would you like to replace the resources? This is up to you if you want to replace resources that are already in your drawings. I'm going to click no just so I can show you the ones that are already in there. Obviously, you can click more drawings if you have more. I just click the one for this demonstration and then click OK, and it'll go ahead and transfer them. And now I can reopen my Inventor. So I'll just go ahead. So here I have Inventor launching with the drawing. This wait not auto update. I believe you have to update that one manually. Wait, okay, so here I have these just default template. And you can see that if I go to my resources, it transferred in my own custom one. I will delete this one and delete the border and the title block. I will go ahead, add in the border and my new one and add in the title block. You can see that my prompted entry came in. So once again, just do not copy for this demonstration. And there is my title block. Okay, I believe that was everything I had for my demonstration. Here, unfortunately, one of the things that it doesn't transfer is sheet format, so I don't have any of my sheet formats here. If I did have sketch symbols, they would be transferred into here as well. Go back to the slides. So just a little bit of review. We reviewed the importance of title blocks. We created some of the resources, and inside of the demo, I also showed you using the drawing resource transfer wizard. And then here are a few additional resources. Christina, if you can go ahead and just paste those into the comment section. I believe we'll be adding them into the YouTube video description as well. Just other drawing template resources from KETIV. They're also on our YouTube, which you can go ahead and search for them as well if you need. And then we have our Q&A. So I'll go ahead and go through some of the questions now. And below is also our information for support. If you do have any support questions or maybe a little bit more in-depth questions, you can always contact our support and we'll go ahead and do more of an individual look at your question. Yeah, so I believe if you go ahead and just open one of your existing drawings, when the drawing migrates to the newer version of Inventor, you can go ahead and then move some of those attributes or some of those resources into other drawings. Oh, they're originally in AutoCAD. Let's see. We might just need to take a closer look at the drawing, but they should still be able to migrate if they're moving forward within Inventor. Let me look at some of these questions then. So let me go ahead and go back here. So I know when there was a question about dimensioning the image, I'll go in here and just insert the image one more time. I was not able to, at least when I was creating this one. But even from here, I can't dimension off of any of the image or create a text. I can remove the snap to grid, but I don't believe there might be a way that I'm not seeing right now. At least from my setting up for this ADA, I wasn't able to dimension a sketch, which is why I went with drawing it in the sketch, although this is a lot more involved. Luckily, KETIV has a fairly straightforward logo with a lot of straight lines that made it easy for me to do that. When I start drawing, let me take a look at another question here. You can set it. Oh, I have snap. I'm going to start drawing utilizing a custom. First page 012. I don't believe that is. Let me delete this one really quick. I'm not going to save these. I don't believe there's a way. So once I added it into my first sheet, it goes ahead and adds it into the rest. Is that not what's happening on yours, Michael? Let me see some of these. Let's see Calvin's. And insert some of them. So the drawing resource will give you the option to either replace or just add in the new title blocks. If you want to, you can replace them. If you have more than one, it does give you the option to select more. I just didn't have any more inside of mine, which is why they didn't show up. So it is going to be the first part you place. If you have multiple parts, it's going to define this based off of the first one. Michael, if you want, you can go ahead and contact us at support. We'll go ahead and take a look at your title block. If it's not migrating correctly, or if the properties aren't filling in because it came from AutoCAD. How can I set up different first sheets from reading sheets then insert? Okay. Okay, I'll go ahead and close this out. And like I said before, if you do have any other questions, you can go ahead and contact our support. This was recorded, so it will be on our YouTube as well.